It is the favorite pastime of anybody that has ever watched sports before, pretending that they can do the job of the coach better than the coach. And there have been a few examples of people actually making the transition from gaming into the world of coaching, particularly in the world of football. The one that blew up recently was Will Still. I don't know if you happen to not be online for a 3-month period where nobody could shut up about the fact that Will Still, the coach of Stade de Reims in France, had become the coach of Stade de Reims in France because he initially was really interested in Football Manager as a kid and decided to become a coach because of it. But it wasn't actually Football Manager that got him the job. And there was another story from maybe a team in Iceland or a team in Serbia where they brought in a guy as kind of an amateur or maybe even a semi-professional member of the coaching staff because of their acumen on Football Manager. And it was also, a great PR opportunity for them, right? Like a great thing that they could go for. But never in all my years that I heard about somebody making such a direct transition from armchair expert, the guy sitting at the back of the pub going, actually, we need a couple of inverted fullbacks. That guy making the transition into the actual first team coaching staff of a professional team, becoming a professional coach directly because of that. And this has become particularly relevant recently because this team actually just accomplished something great. And I'm not talking about somebody who became a head coach of a professional team. That is still apparently a bridge too far. I'm talking about this guy, Nathan Oabi. And as you see, he was hired by Bromley to bring a new tactical perspective to the club through what he'd learned playing Football Manager. Today he'll be on the sidelines at Wembley for their National League playoff final. I'll let you figure out what happened there, but that was awesome. But for Nathan Oabi, it was actually even crazier than this. You see, Bromley FC, which is a team in London, they teamed also in the 5th tier of England. Just that's important, right? They teamed up with Xbox to basically hold a competition where you could submit your application through Football Manager on Xbox. And they reviewed a bunch of applications, went through rounds of interviews, and settled on hiring Nathan Oabi as a first-team analyst, like an actual first-team professional analyst. You want to talk about your life changing overnight? Like, I can't think of a cooler story, but also kind of a batshit crazy thing for this club to do. I mean, absolutely nuts thing for this club to do. You think about everything that goes into funding these non-EFL clubs. I mean, you're in the 5th division. Bromley is certainly not the biggest team in the 5th division, right? They're competing against other teams like Chesterfield, who ended up finishing ahead of them, who have a lot more resources, a lot more history, a lot more acumen, right? They're all the way up at this. So Bromley is not exactly in a position where it can be spendy with its resources, right? Everybody that's in the National League is trying to get out of it desperately, right? There's not a lot of financial support going on. Technically, you're not supposed to be professional the way the pyramid is set up, but vast majority of the teams in the Vanarama National League are professional anyways. So the fact that they would send it and decide to do this, if you were just going to do a PR campaign like this, then maybe you probably would be able to spend that full-time salary somewhere else. But no, they really made the decision that they wanted somebody to come in as an analyst through the game Football Manager. I would love to have been a fly on the wall of how that actually happened. I am sure, just me being on the cynical side of things, it was at least in part some sort of promotional tool, some sort of maybe a sponsorship that Football Manager paid Bromley to be able to do this sort of thing, or Football Manager perhaps even offered to cover part of the salary of the full-time person. Like, I'm sure, because they're getting a lot of promotion out of this, I'm sure something like that definitely could have happened. But the end result is that somebody was able to apply through Football Manager on Xbox and become a first-team analyst at Bromley with a couple of months to go while they are pushing for promotion. And there is actually a 3-part documentary series on YouTube about Nathan Owallabi's experience. This is planned 3 parts. I watched part of the first episode just to kind of familiarize myself with this more. It's hilarious. They're talking to Nathan Olawabi's mom. They're like, yeah, we could never get him to go outside. He just wanted to stay inside and play games. She was always telling him football wasn't a real career. It's a passion. You got to go find something else to do. And Nathan had found something else to do. He was actually a tour guide at Wembley until he got the job at Bromley. And when you hear the people at Bromley talk about Nathan, they were really impressed with his ability to break down tactical situations, all learned from playing, amongst other football games, Football Manager, right? Like, he picked up all of that tactical acumen and was able to apply it. But there's always been this great question, right? Because if you know me from my other channel, if you know me from anything other than Zealandism, you'll know this. I made a lot of my career on YouTube making tutorials about Football Manager, streaming Football Manager on Twitch, generally being considered one of the top Football Manager players. Although there are people out there that are way better than me at the game, but I competed in all of those streamer showdowns, right? I have multiple streamer showdown titles playing Football Manager, right? So I definitely would at least believe that I would be able to go toe to toe with somebody like Nathan Oabi, who's able to get a job through Football Manager. And I also made a video where I went to my Football Manager team, Taunton at the time. Taunton Town, they were in the 6th division, just got relegated, unfortunately. Rest in peace to the Peacocks. But I met with their manager, Rob Dre, and I made a whole video where Rob Dre actually interviewed me. And in the interview that Rob Dre did was basically asking me different tactical questions, how to handle different tactical situations. And at the end, he graded how I did. And I actually did really well in that situation. But the question is not whether playing Football Manager and kind of playing it at a super high level actually helps you learn the tactical side of the game. Because I think Nathan and his conversations with the people at Bromley, my experiences talking to coaches and like literally having a coach being, because it'd be a really funny YouTube video if I just ended up looking like an idiot, going to a coach and saying, hey, dude, roast me. Like, absolutely lay me out, come up with tactical situations. And if I don't do well, friggin' tell me. Right? Like if I'm completely wrong or you'd handle this completely different way, then you'd do that. And me being able to at least kind of handle myself in a tactical conversation with like a real life manager, bald head and everything. Like he was the archetype, right? The tactical side's okay, but it's the transition to being able to handle things in person, to be able to make assessments on the fly, right? Because Oabi is not somebody that's going to be sitting up in the booth, right? It becomes very clear very early on in this whole saga with Nathan Oabi and Bromley that he's going to be on the touchline. Right, that the decision is that Nathan Oabi is going to be on the touchline during matches, and the coach actually talks about like, I hope Nathan's ready. Like, we'll find out. I'm going to come to him during a match and be like, what do you see? And he's going to have an answer for me. And then you fast forward a couple of months, and you've got this guy that used to be a tour guide at Wembley, is now at the National League playoff final with Bromley. Bromley has never been in the English Football League. If they win this playoff final, they will go to the English Football League for the very first time. And 23-year-old Nathan Oabi is on the touchline as a first-team analyst with Bromley in that type of pressure cooker situation. A year ago, he would have never been able to imagine that. So shout out to however it happened to Xbox, Bromley, and Football Manager for being able to make this guy's dream come true, but also apparently provide Bromley with somebody they value their input. The coach Woodman right here said, the benefits of the project are that we have another voice and angle, a different approach to things. Nathan has embraced the opportunity and has really added something to the group. I mean, I'd say that's fairly high praise from the coach. I mean, he's certainly not somebody that's been iced out. It doesn't seem like on the surface they've gotten frustrated with him. I still haven't been able to pick my way through the whole 3-part documentary series, but he's done people that are really obsessed with Football Manager proud. And Bromley gets to this playoff final. Nathan Oabi's on the bench, and the playoff final goes to penalties. And then I have to show you this. Like, instead of just telling you about this, I don't know what this guy's name is taking the penalty, but I think they might say in the broadcast. We'll see. The calm, cool composure of this guy taking a penalty in Wembley to send his team to the English Football League, though, second to none. Calmest penalty I've ever seen, and you just have to watch it to believe me.
The man wearing the armband. Can he do it? Can he be the hero? Webster for Bromley. Scores! Bromley are promoted!
And somebody pointed out to me afterwards, not only does he raise the eyebrow, not only does he smirk at the goalkeeper before he takes it, he's wearing an EFL captain's armband. Bromley's not in the EFL yet. That means he switched out the armband at some point during the game, I'm assuming right before he took the penalty. Is kind of like a willing it into existence, making a statement that it was going to happen and he was going to be the guy to do it. Just an absurd moment. And congratulations to Bromley, because in their whole 132, I feel like every club in England that has been around for 187 years, with the exception of MK Dons, right? But everybody will make you aware of that 2 seconds into you talking to anybody about the English Football League's history, that they're able to finally get themselves into the English Football League for the first time. But outside of the romance of that story, to me, is the romance of this one kid. Just like the coolest thing that I've seen in quite a while, because as much as Will's still and all that's hyped up, Will's still just like playing Football Manager as a kid, and it got him interested in being a coach. This is the first instance I can find of a professional job being acquired, like fully professional job being acquired just based off somebody's accomplishments in Football Manager, and then obviously getting through an interview stage. And for that to happen, and then the team, whatever small part Nathan played in it, there's a ton of people from Webster, the guy that scored the penalty, right, to Woodman, the coach, and everybody else at the club, right, that played a huge role in getting this club promoted. But whatever small part Nathan Oabi played in getting the club promoted is attributable to Football Manager and the random kindness of other people and to thinking outside the box and giving people a chance. So congrats to Bromley. Congrats to Nathan Oabi. And I hope you feel like your brain is expanding now that you've heard an actually cool story for once. It's not all doom and gloom and penalties around here.